Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live for Financial Fitness Friday, and want to cover a couple things, a couple really, really good topics Dave had. One, from a suggestion standpoint here, guys, I would kind of when I see gold, silver, and the crypto markets taking off, especially gold and silver, okay, it tells me that there's going to be a lot of volatility ahead, and there are a lot of people unsure of a lot of different things. All right. So I want to cover some financial things that are happening geopolitically, right? So you can understand how it's going to impact you guys. So the first thing is that's a warning sign. So what I would tell you guys is just, hey, strong financial habits right now, like we talked on the last show. Be prepared for volatility. Okay. Two, we'll cover the Trump trying to cap cards at 10%. All right. Personally, I think it's a terrible idea. Here's why I think it's a terrible idea. The banks don't lose, right? If you cap and by the way, guys, there's nothing that's not capitalism at that point. Okay. It's not. That's not free market capitalism. So I don't like that either. Should banks take advantage of people? No. But the reality is this: if we continue to do this stuff, right? And I understand it's just for a year. He's saying, and I understand that the credit card fees are getting astronomical. All right. If you're somebody that has a lot of credit cards and you're trying to get out of them and you have a good credit score, come to me, get a term loan. That's how you get out of them. Consolidate it, save a ton of money, reduce the payment, and pay it off over 3 to 5 years. Okay. It's not going to compound. The interest isn't going to compound. The killer with credit cards is that when you have that much credit card debt, okay, and you're only paying the minimum payments or you're paying twice the minimum payments, interest is compounding on top of interest. And it's very hard to get out of that. All right. You can see that on the statement breakdowns that you see. It'll say, hey, if you pay the minimum payment, it's going to take you 12 years to pay this off. And if you're, let's say, 10 grand, it's going to cost you like 27. And the same thing if you pay like 2 or 3x the minimum, it'll take you 5 years or 7 years, and you're going to pay, I don't know, 17,000 on that. And you can see that on every statement, right? So that's number one. So if you're in that type of debt and you have a good credit score, I strongly recommend a term loan, consolidate it all, and get out of that awful cycle. Now, the reason why I don't like what Trump's doing, okay, with the 10% cap is because instead of them lowering it, right, they're going to lower it, but they're not going to offer as much credit. Okay. So not only are they not going to offer as much credit, they're probably not going to approve the vast majority of people. They're only going to keep it to the people that they consider extremely low risk. Get out of here with that 6-7 bullshit. Okay. That's demonic. I'm serious, dude. It's awful. So what I'm saying, guys, here is um, do not, do not buy into that whole reduce it to 10% thing, because it's going to cut a lot of liquidity to a lot of people. All right. And that's not going to be necessarily helpful. And the other thing is that they're going to cut that, they'll cut lines. So they will need another type of, financial instrument. All right. It's really not a good idea anytime the government steps in and messes with the economy. I hate the Federal Reserve. I don't think that's a good idea. That needs to be abolished. I don't like any of that stuff. We should not have controls. It should be free market capitalism. All right. And there's a difference between that and ethical capitalism. That's a whole nother conversation. Dave, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, and I agree with everything you're saying 100%, man. And I look at it from what I deal with in the trenches every day, and a couple things. Number one, yeah, the banks suck. Like we know that, right? They're predatory lending, all this stuff, bailouts over the past 15, 20 years. Give the people a break, right? But also on the flip side, technically, you know, you're a private entity. So how can you come in and say, "Hey, you have to charge this. You have to do that." So that I don't like. However, being in this daily, I look at the back end, like what could happen. Well, number one, yeah, 10% for a year and all that. Yeah, it's great. It may or may not help the consumer. I don't think it will help them at all. But what I think it will do is, what do they do on the back end? You said banks don't lose. Could they stack interest? Could they find a loophole in what happens, right? Okay, you give us a year at 10%, then we're fine. But you didn't say we couldn't accrue interest over that year, right? Just like balance transfers. If you don't hit the grace period, you're getting all that accrued interest. So could we put interest on the back end? Nobody's talking about that. Could it happen? I don't know. But I think the most important thing that people don't talk about, and I actually get clients, or we hear of clients all the time, that they get scared when their credit gets fixed and they have a new card or some new limits. You know, I just had somebody the other day, I helped him get established and grow after he went through 2 years of just a really bad situation. And dude, he got $11,500 like right off the rip. And a lot of people, when they get that in their hands, or they'll look at the other way, hey, like I can get out of this debt trap. It's 10% fixed. Okay, cool. Let's go on a spending spree now. Right. Oh, okay. We can get this paid off now. We have some breathing room. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can hustle behind and get it done. I think you're not fixing the habit to begin with. So I think from a humanity standpoint, you're actually going to make the habit worse.
Yeah.
You create like this $1.3 trillion debt or whatever it is today that we're in. I actually see it getting worse because, yeah, money might get tighter. And that I agree 100%. I think the other thing too is they'll probably start closing cards. You know,
Yeah,
I think
they're
that,
going to.
oh, absolutely. So I think maybe the gift and the curse to keep people from being their own worst enemy is if they're already are in a bad situation already, they're gonna close it off. So going back to like what you said about consolidation loans, I would do that now, because if this say magically I don't think it will go through, because I just don't see how you can tell somebody what to do. But say if whatever, man, we've seen a bunch of crazy shit happen. Say if it does, I think day one, you're gonna have so many people's cards closed.
Yes.
And then what? Then what does it do? Now
because listen, when you're financing anything, okay, whoever is underwriting that, they're coming up with a risk profile,
Yep.
right? And that risk profile gets assigned a certain cost of capital. Okay, it doesn't matter what financial program it is. It could be equipment financing for a business. It could be a credit card. It could be a line of credit. That's how it works. So when they're underwriting that, they're looking at a risk profile and assigning a cost of what the cost of capital is consonant to that risk. Okay. And so when you're saying, hey, you got to cap it here. Okay. Well, there's only a small profile that is going to fit in that box of 10%. Right. The reality is, guys, if you want to do well, it's about financial discipline, financial habits. Have a high credit score. Have cash on the sidelines, and then have access to cash. Okay. If you want to build wealth, if you want to build a business, right, that is what you need to do. And you have to have options, right? It gives you the options and the flexibility to pivot and to maneuver. And then if you can do that along with saving and investing, you're in a really, really, really good position. I'd say you're in the top 5% of people, right? Just by locking those little fundamentals down. Now, what no one talks about, and Dave, you were starting to hit on it, is everybody, and myself included, goes through great periods of, hey, we're doing really, really well. Then you plateau. Hey, sometimes you take a couple steps back. Okay. Not that, it happens, right? It absolutely happens. Now, what people don't talk about, though, is when you are doing these things, okay, and you may have accumulated some debt because you started a business, or you accumulated some debt because you got an asset, or what have you, okay, you have to pay down that debt in the good times, okay? You want to get rid of that. Well, debt is good if it's bringing in a return, if it's bringing in revenue. Debt is bad when it's financing a lifestyle or it's rescue capital. All right. And no matter what the debt is that you have on your books, when things are going well, you should be paying it down. Right. Like the businesses that get hurt are the businesses that keep a line of credit locked and loaded, right? At max or 80% or 70%. Okay. Same thing with the credit cards. All right. There's nothing wrong with using credit cards if you use it and you pay it off. You use it, you pay it off. All you're doing is building points. Okay. You're getting free float for 30 days. Where you get in trouble with the credit cards is keeping balances on there. The balances grow, the interest is compounding, and now you're in a debt spiral that it's very hard to get out of without a term loan or some significant action towards it. All right. And the problem that we have here is that a lot of people let themselves get in that situation. And so now they're talking about capping it at the 10%. All right. My advice to you guys, if you're in that situation, grab a term loan. I don't think any of this is good. I did want to go into some macro level stuff with BRICS, but I think we knocked this part out of the park. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more about BRICS and Venezuela and how everything's tying in together. There's most people, you'll get a different view of it here. And I think this view is actually what's going on. Okay. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in for Financial Fitness Friday. And God bless you.
Be great, Joel.